Yay! Welcome back to New Rockstars News, everyone. We are talking about Aquaman and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We're also going to be talking about the new Men in Black trailer, the new reboot that just came out, and a potential Nova movie we're hearing stuff about. I'm Erik Voss. Joining me here at the table are Sam Bashor and Maude Garrett.
What's up?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Well, here we go. Let's talk about the top story. It just came out today. We actually have two movies to discuss. We're going to start with Aquaman. It's directed by James Wan, known mostly for horror movies like Saw and The Conjuring movies. He's also executive producing Swamp Thing show that's coming out.
He also did Fast and the Furious.
He did Fast and the
Thank
Furious.
you
He's a
very
man
much.
of many talents. In charge of a lot of big franchises. So this is the first superhero one, unless you consider Dom Toretto a superhero. He can't be killed.
Family is important.
His superpower is family. Now, this movie stars Jason Momoa and Amber Hurd, and it currently on Rotten Tomatoes has 68%, according to critics. So a bit of a mixed bag with opinions here.
This is the thing. I've heard a lot of things about this movie. Groot, what did you think, buddy? Hold on, real quick. Real
Groot
quick.
Cam?
He's pretty into it. All right.
Is Groot growing?
Is Groot growing? He looks taller.
That's what happens with
They grow
time.
so fast, don't
Yeah. It's his one job. He just grows. I've heard so many things about this movie. I haven't actually managed to see it yet, only because I do a lot of junkets and I'm watching all the crap movies at the moment.
Jumping around the world.
Whew, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing that it's the worst movie someone in this room has probably ever seen and wanted to walk out. I've heard other people say that it was actually really, really great. They loved the direction of this and it could do good things for DC. And I'm hearing a mixed bag of things. So I kind of want to get you guys convincing me whether I should see this movie or give it a miss. You've both seen it and you've got mixed opinions as well.
Definitely see it.
Okay.
Definitely see it.
You could do a red box rental with this one.
No, you got to see it on the big screen. The visuals are so amazing. In fact, there's a couple amazing things that make this movie worth seeing. And the visuals are at the top of the list.
One question, most importantly, just because it's in my peripheral vision, are his nipples hard the entire movie?
Well, when he's in the water. And he doesn't have a shirt on. Because he can't tell if he's got a shirt on, you know what I mean? Usually.
Yeah.
Those things are fighting. Those things are sharp. But when you're talking about positives of the movie, I'm lukewarm on it. Like, I think, I'm bummed that that percentage dropped 1 percentage point because before it was really funny. But anyways.
How old are you?
13. No, I left this movie pretty much in the middle of the road. Like, I don't think... There are some moments where I actually genuinely disliked it, but overall it's a fun romp, and I've heard some comparisons to it's not a comic book adaptation. It's an adaptation of a Saturday morning cartoon. So like in Super Friends, how Aquaman is riding that giant pink seahorse, you're like, God, he's already lame, and this is his first TV show. In this, they make him a giant sea dragon, and he looks awesome. This movie is badass, through and through, but from the visuals to how they're even able to bring this world to life, James Wan needs to be praised in the fact that he makes an underwater world where people aren't walking around, they're floating constantly. No one ever is just a normal person in the scene.
That sounds exhausting.
It looks beautiful. Yeah,
it can be. It does feel a little exhausting at times, but here's the thing. I believe James Wan did the best possible job you could adapting the bonkers character that is Aquaman to the big screen.
And it embraces
the rules
that.
of this world are very well defined. He fixed a lot of the things that I believe were mistakes in Justice League. One of them being characters can only talk to each other in air bubbles. And this one, he just says, no, people are going to talk to each other underwater. It's not going to sound weirdly muted, and we're just going to go with that.
Yeah.
It feels like a really well-designed world. There's parts of it where I'm like, this is how I felt like when I was watching Finding Nemo, the camera swooping in this underwater kingdom. You do have to let go of certain cynicisms that I think we all naturally have, seen a lot of superhero movies where they do it really well. I think, there's some things where it's just a little silly, but I think if you can just push through that and just enjoy the ride.
Octopus playing drums.
Octopus playing drums?
A tattooed octopus plays drums before a battle, and it's awesome.
I haven't seen that since The Little Mermaid.
It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's live action.
Was it the Luke plays the flute, the cup plays the harp?
He was by himself. I wish he had a full band, I'll tell you. It would have been more impressive if he had a full band.
I think James Wan said that this guy's name is Toto? No.
Is he from Africa?
Topo. He is a...
remember that song, because it's featured, and there's a cover of it by none other than Pitbull.
Pitbull shows up in this. He should show up in every movie, in my opinion. No, I'm not just saying I'm hate watching this the way that we watch a B movie. I genuinely enjoyed certain elements of it because I think you could there's another version of this movie where they call out everything, where they're like, yeah, I know, and they're kind of ashamed of the history, and there's no self-consciousness. Maybe some fans wanted at some point Jason Momoa to look at camera and be like, seriously, I'm going to ride a seahorse or something like that, or exactly what Ben Affleck did in that Justice League trailer of like, so I hear you talk to fish. This movie, I think one of the best things about, without spoiling it, they take the power of communicating with fish and turn it from something really dumb in the Super Friends into the one thing that redeems the character in the end of the movie. And it works. It totally pays off. The fact that he can communicate with sea creatures is the thing that saves him and makes them the hero. And it works. And I think that's a huge feat for a director to pull off.
No, when it comes to visuals and action, there's a hand-to-hand fight between Orm's brother and Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry, and they go at it underwater, and it's beautiful. I've never seen, like, it's one of the most impressive action scenes I've seen all year, because they make it look believable. They actually do the effort to like make it work. But where this movie like starts to like lose me is that the script and the moments where I'm supposed to actually like learn more about the characters and who they are, I'm like, no thanks.
You don't care. So the script's poorly written.
It's when you have like personal moments. The other moments, like the story beats and everything, are pretty epic. The movie is epic. The movie fully embraces every weird aspect of Aquaman and makes you understand it, but doesn't like hold your hand through it. It's just like, let's just see this weird universe. It's not even like, you know how like the MCU has like, let's see Team Iron Man. You have Jon Favreau, Pepper Potts, and Rhodey sometimes if he's there. But with this, it's like, no, you're seeing like 7 kingdoms. Like you're seeing, you're exploring all of them to the fullest, which is great. And they all feel distinct and different.
That's cool.
And I will say that Sam is onto something when it comes to character development. This movie does leave some to be desired in that front. If you just compare it, I don't want to compare it just to like Marvel, but like there's lots of stories. This is a very Arthurian legend of the outcast character who has to like reclaim his throne, right? We saw in The Lion King, we're seeing it in Game of Thrones with Jon Snow. We kind of saw it in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Like it's Can
you just appreciate that?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Arthurian. And his name's Arthur.
And his name's Arthur, which is a direct reference. They don't shy away from that in the movie. It's a little on the nose.
It blew my mind like 3 weeks ago where I was like, oh wait, King Arthur.
Yeah, and he's like, why don't we name him after King Arthur? It's like, oh, so this is going to be Arthurian story? Great. They do it a little bit better in other stories, because I don't know if we learn anything about what makes Arthur Curry distinct from those other types of Arthur stories where we see why he doesn't want it. He's a pretty one-dimensional surfer bro. Yeah. Who's straight out of Point Break. And we don't learn anything really more about him or his conflicts.
Sean Penn.
Or his inner struggle, I mean, Black Panther is another story like this where we learn quite a bit about T'Challa and like his shame about what the mistakes that his father made and how it felt like a bit of a betrayal to his family. And a bit. And I think this doesn't really do anything to improve on that. So you're going to miss out on that. But I think in terms of the story and the pacing of the story, it's a pretty fun adventure. And it almost has a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of feel where they're going from the next step of like trying to find this lost relic. And I was excited by it.
It's Tron mixed with Point Break, mixed with National Treasure, mixed with Indiana Jones. There is a specific scene that is from National Treasure. It's just done with it. It involves a bottle, and it's a different bottle used. Even like using blood to like use to like read something. There's a lot of stuff that's like
I've
directly
seen
from that.
I've seen that clip already.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I got 2 questions. How are my girls, Nicole Kidman? How
Great.
was she?
Wonderful. She's my favorite performer in the movie.
She gets the first action scene of the movie, and there's no cut in it as far as you can tell, and it's just it blew my mind. I was like, okay, I could be on board with this. Then people start talking later, and I start to zone out. But she gets awesome moments throughout the movie.
How's Julie Andrews?
Fun. It's ridiculous. This is at probably the peak moment where I'm like, what is going on? Why is Mary Poppins and Maria from Sound of Music voicing this giant Lovecraftian sea demon?
I want to do that.
This is wonderful. She's not doing like, if there's a job that must be done. Mary Poppins. No, she's channeling a very Shakespearean,
she's a titan.
Powerful.
She's
yes.
Like a force of nature.
Her voice acting's wonderful.
I'd say, just to kind of sum up, like, I think this movie shines light on everything great about James Wan's directing and everything that doesn't work all the time. It's like he knows action, he knows how to capture amazing moments, he knows CGI. Like, the CGI needs to be praised in this movie because it's amazing, it's wonderful. And then when it comes to script stuff, it's like
got it.
Like Amber Heard and Arthur, I'm like, I'm waiting for you guys to have chemistry, but you're just telling us that there is, and I don't feel it. So
yes,
yeah.
I agree there.
But Mira is awesome, by the way. Mira's
as
great.
a character, Mira's great. Amber Hurd is very good in her performance. I did not feel a chemistry, and it felt like in the second half of the movie they forced a rom-com subplot that did not work at all. It felt very forced.
Why couldn't they be brother and sister?
They're married in the comics. It's one of the big marriages in comics.
Yeah.
I know that you don't have to do that, but hey, Flash made a couple half siblings, or not half siblings, adopted siblings. That was weird, and we all have to live with that. It's super weird.
It happened.
Maybe that's not a solution.
But they hit their diversity quota.
They did.
It's representation matters. Now, here's a question.
I actually do love the fact that he is our first Polynesian superhero.
It's
as
great,
well.
and there's
I
a
love
lot
that.
of references to his Polynesian ancestry.
I love
this
that.
necklace is a Maori Toki jade necklace, and his tattoos are all Polynesian tattoos. So
and he did
dad's a
the
hunk.
yeah, and Tamura Morrison is a Polynesian.
You were like,
as well.
yeah. You quickly agreed to it.
I might be wrong. I don't know if
Yeah.
Tamura Morrison is Polynesian. I don't want to get that wrong. He might be a New Zealander.
We
And
do
I don't
know
if
he's
that's
Maori.
the same thing as
Maori.
Yeah, I don't want to mix
but
up
you
the
know
wrong
the
terms.
fact that he did the haka on the carpet, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I'm
his
just
audition for Game
I'm
of Thrones.
about that.
There was
Yeah.
a little bit of it in the movie during a fight, when he was in the middle of battle, and it's a moment where he takes down somebody. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm getting hyped.
It's so strong, and I
Yeah.
love the history of that, and I love that it's seeing in a mainstream capacity.
Yeah, it's cool to see those
100%
elements.
not digging on diversity at all. I just think that Flash.
It was weird.
always, yeah.
I agree. It was weird. But
You married
no,
your sister.
I think it's just I wish that the script had one more pass and this movie could be even more special. But I think that Rotten Tomatoes grade is actually pretty on the money. I'd maybe make it a little bit higher, but that's pretty on the money.
Yeah, I think this movie will do pretty good overseas. I mean, it's got all the kind of right elements that I think international audiences will go for. We'll see how much money it makes, and that'll depend a lot on whether this is kind of the norm for DC going forward with the Warner Brothers films, or if this is just kind of an outlier. It was in our pipeline. We're gonna change our direction after this. We have Shazam in the pipeline as well.
1984 too.
Then but I don't know if this is good enough to be like, yes, this is what I want to see for every DC movie.
Which is
will
what
say-
Wonder Woman did initially when that first came out. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, here we go. You're on the map.
Yes.
I will say this is the biggest superhero movie they've ever made. Avengers Infinity War is big, but scale wise this is way bigger than Justice League. He goes to 7 kingdoms, and they're not it's like the size of Van Nuys. It's no, this is a kingdom.
It feels
and
like
it's
a kingdom.
huge.
The world building of this movie is
impressive,
unparalleled in
yeah.
the DC universe.
So
I'd
what
say.
is the one reason why I can't watch it in the cinema?
It's long, and that the script sometimes long personal scenes. I'm like, they're grating, but I'm just saying that I got tired, but I think the visuals are impressive. But maybe wait for Red Box.
I say see it on the big screen. I think you'll be grateful when you see their shots entering the world. If we're saying the world building is the best part of it. It's kind of like when that awe moment when you watch them enter Wakanda, or certain the shots when they enter
Underwater in
Themyscira.
Naboo. I mean, it was a bad movie, but the underwater going into Naboo for Phantom Menace was still delightful. It looked visually
And
stunning.
if you like that, you're gonna love Aquaman. If you
think-
could get by with just the bongo ride into the Gungan City.
There's always a bigger fish.
There's always,
Comment
And
below
Tim
if you've
Lee.
seen the movie. Let me know whether I should see it in the cinema or if I should have a hard pass on that one.
Yeah. And we want to hear your thoughts on this movie. How does it rank among the other DC cinematic adaptations?
Is
does it
68% fair?
Is that fair? Yeah. Let us know. But let's move on to our trivia question. Now, folks, we have a huge announcement. As you've seen, if you watch this show every week, we have a GIF of Shame challenge that we do for the people who lose a
Sure
trivia
do.
question. And the boxes we've had
It was
to
a
contain our
lunchbox.
GIF of Shame challenges.
Was
these lunchboxes, that's
shame
generous.
was shame in itself?
It
The
was
last
itself
one
an embodiment of
carried
shame.
batteries. It was great. I miss it.
It served its function, but it wasn't very good. Well, we asked some of you if you'd be interested in helping us make a new one, and one of you on Twitter, Travis, is one of the coolest guys ever. He freaking made us a GIF of Shame box, and guys, it looks awesome.
Travis is our god of the week.
It's
So this
really
is
cool.
it. He made this out of wood and laser printing, and he sent it to us in pieces that
This
we can
is
assemble.
individually all of our GIF of shame moments that we
Yep.
have had this year so
That's so
far
cool.
that have been etched
Such
in.
great
And as you
moments.
can see, Eric's is when we were doing our Halloween special, and
Yeah.
he's in his shark hot dog suit.
I wanted to wear
forever.
that for today's episode. in honor of Into the Spider-Verse. But we also made this GIF of shame thing.
Shame.
Love it.
Inside, you could see he wrote shame on all that.
Love
and
it.
then covered
This is
all the
my
big
favorite.
things that we talk about.
Cars.
DC, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Marvel. And of course, Cars. It means you're watching
The
closely.
moneymaker
It's
here.
a moneymaker,
Yeah.
right?
Well, how many millions of views is that one on now?
Oh, it's
Like 17,
a
right?
quarter of one,
Ballpark
maybe.
70 million.
So thank you, Travis. We can't wait to use this every week and give you a shout out. This is such a kind gesture, and we're so excited to reach into something that won't have some
Bite
weird
us
mold
back.
on it or have an animal living in it. So let's get to our trivia question this week. And here we go. So. The question is, name another project in which Jason Momoa played an excellent swimmer. Okay, all of our answers are here in the bin, and at the end of the episode, we'll reveal the answer to the trivia question.
I'm sorry, I just want to point out my real smug face.
Oh, Maude feels good about it. That's
Finally.
confidence.
It's the first time I haven't guessed.
And then we'll pull our gift of shame, whoever loses, from our new amazing gift of shame
Wow,
box.
it's probably going to be me.
It's a 50-50, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel great. I feel like I'm on like a late night show, you know, with like the Walker Texas Ranger lever, like these cool little hidden things that like it feels legit. Like we have arrived now. We got the great cool stuff. I mean, this set's cool.
I think we peaked at Little Groot, by the way.
Groot
We
is
just-
when we made
Groot
it.
Cam, how you feeling, Groot?
Groot good?
Oh, Groot's
I am Groot.
feeling dissed. I am Groot means
I am Groot.
asshole. Today. Well, we other stuff came out that we want to talk about.
Sure did. I don't know if you've heard of this little movie that's making big waves. Sony Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out last week. It's written by Phil Lord. Chris Miller was producer on that one. It came out last weekend. Now, you guys watched Into the Spider-Verse. I watched Welcome to Marwen.
Ooh. Tomato.
So I really do want to hear a lot about Into the Spider-Verse because this is the honestly movie of the year for a lot of people. So just before we get into that, I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't see Welcome to Marwen.
Yeah, we kind of want to ask about
That's what they want to know. Why can't they see it?
It's so unfortunate at the moment when it's junket season for me and where a lot of movies come out. The movies that I watch because I have to, because I interview the cast for
You
it.
I
get to. And lately there have been some doozies. And Welcome to Marwen is a story that it's supposed to be an inspirational story based on a documentary, which is about quite a sad story about a man who had the living beaten out of him because he happened to casually mention in a bar that he liked wearing women's shoes. And the way that he got through his coma and he's completely had his memory wiped, he turned to his art and he would create little towns and dolls and take photos of it. But this movie manages, the one thing that it's trying to do is make women a powerful force and to celebrate women. But what it ends up doing is remove so much power from women and makes so many things uncomfortable and awkward and borderline creepy and makes you as the audience not sure whether you want to you can no longer sort of support and be on this guy's side because he crosses so many boundaries and it's done in just such a distorted way. But the visuals are great. He does this really cool thing. I mean, he's trying to push visual boundaries, like with Polar Express. You know, that was supposed to be revolutionary with sort of like mocap for the face. This time, he basically does create dolls of all of these actors, and it looks freakishly real. So that part's cool. But once you actually consider the story, halfway through the movie, I was like, oh, I actually don't feel good. I don't feel good about anything that's happening here.
Critics are kind of turning on it, it sounds like.
That's a big miss for me. I know that IGN gave it a 2.5 out of 10.
Ooh, it's
2.5 out of
pretty
10.
rotten.
So that's what I'm going to just start off
there.
with. Let's talk about one of the better movies that came out this year. I want to know, what was it about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse that really knocked your socks off?
I mean, everything across the board. Like I've been lucky enough, a little humble brag, I've been able to see this movie. 4 times.
What?
I'm going to see it a 5th time next week. I'm very excited about it. I love it. It's an amazing movie that has heart, has an amazing script, humor is there, the voice cast is incredible, but above all, honestly, even though they're all equal in my brain because they just nailed it, is the animation style. They animated this entire movie in CGI, and then they created a software to go back frame by frame and do hand-drawn touch-ups, and so that that's never been done before.
Right.
The entire movie is hand-drawn and in a blend of CG, and I get why somebody's trying to patent that technology. It's like, that's incredible. It took a week to do 1 second of film. That's how long. That's how much care and effort went into this movie.
Man.
And the way, scenes like this must have been the hardest because Nick Cage's Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and Penny, and your main 3 casts are all rendered out differently.
Yeah,
they're all
different animation styles.
Different animation styles.
Yeah.
It would be murdering your normal computer. Like, I don't even know how they even pulled that off. It's so impressive.
It's a true like miracle of filmmaking, in my opinion. It's I talked a bit about this in the breakdown that we did of it. The animator said they had to do what's called animate in twos, where in addition to do hand-drawn touch-ups, normally in film you do 24 frames per second. That's what gives it that smooth, kind of lifelike action. Here they went back to old-school animation, which is 12 frames per second. So they held each frame twice.
A little bit longer.
So it gives it kind of this chunky, almost like comic book turn page motion, strobe almost effect, which some people are kind of like, it throws them off for a bit. But this is the first time I feel like they've really brought a comic book to life, made it feel like a living painting. So it's just a visual spectacle, but it's not just like, when Ang Lee did like split screens in the original Hulk movie, or in Scanner Darkly, where they kind of did some weird animation style. Here it really feels like you're turning a page, and they use Miles Morales' artistic style of graffiti, a spray painting of his doodles to animate all the splash pages. So it feels like you're not just reading a comic book, you're reading a comic book that Miles Morales could have conceivably drawn. So you really get a sense of the character more than a lot of other superhero movies do. They introduce you to who Miles Morales is, why fans love him in the comics and the animated series, and make us fall in love with him, while introducing this whole idea of the Spider-Verse, which is a really complicated thing to try to do in a movie.
And also,
they pull it off.
I went with a friend. I went with Darren. I brought him to one of the screenings I went to, and he was like, like when like a sci-fi concept comes up, and sometimes you're like, I don't get it. But like, you just don't want to ask questions because sometimes nerdy culture is a little bit more harsh when it comes to asking questions. And he was like, oh, I finally get it. Like, I get the multiverse. I understand. And he's like, I kind of got it. Like, not time travel, but something else. And like, there's other people. And he's like, I kind of just ignored it. But this movie did a good job. But also, the best part about this for me is that it has one of the most beautiful lessons in the movie. Like, the point of it is that anyone can be Spider-Man. That's the point. You can be. They even say that in the movie. He's narrating. Miles is narrating it. He's saying you can be, but it's not about being Spider-Man, being a superhero, whatever. It's like, it means that you have the opportunities in life when you're faced with challenges, you can be a good person, you can rise above. And that is realized in one of the best scenes in cinema. When Wonder Woman walks out of the trench and everyone got chills and they were crying? That's what this scene is. This movie has that, and it's beautiful because Miles is a great character, and they just bring to life everything that you love about Spider-Man and everything that every other non-comic book reader is missing by not reading those stories.
Sam, you are glowing.
It's the best movie of the year. No, there's some wonderful movies this year, but I honestly think this movie, because like Scanner Darkly and other animation styles, like they try to like show adults like, no, animation's cool. Like, look at it, it's impressive. It's like, no, you're going too edgy. There's other examples I'm not thinking of right now. And then everyone else thinks cartoons. This movie is a movie. It's a comedy. It's a drama. It's a sci-fi adventure, and it shows people that you can really use animation to tell any story you want, and it deserves respect.
Yes. Absolutely. I hope
I could
this
really
sweeps
gush about
the
this for a
Oscars,
long time. I think this movie's perfect. Also, 3D makes this movie actually wonderful. Like, I would never advocate for 3D except for animation is a good. 3D is a good medium for animation.
I've got a couple of questions. Obviously, there's been a lot of Spider-Man hit and misses. Like, I feel like this is the cash cow that keeps getting milked, and we thought that was dry, maybe not because of Tom Holland, but like, we're getting to that stage. Do you think that this has successfully resurrected the Spider-Man franchise?
It's the year of Spider-Man.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
I wouldn't say resurrected, but I feel like it has taken it into a new, potentially beneficial direction that they should be doing more experimentation with. And the way that comic books started to have to branch out and try new visual styles and new different kinds of stories, doing the same Peter Parker story over and over again, it felt like third time's a charm with Tom Holland. It's like, okay, finally, we got it. We're good. Those movies can be totally fine. I love that they're doing this new animation style to show there's a whole new different side of this world that's out there, and I hope that they do this with more superhero characters.
And this movie's deeper than you think, because like with Peter's character in this, Jake Johnson, by the way, has my favorite jokes in the movie.
Yeah, he's great.
There's a joke that they're like they always make a joke that he's like a little bit thicker than like other Spider-Man because he's older, but also he's tired, and also we're maybe tired of seeing him on screen like a little bit. I love my Spider-Man, but come on, and that's a joke that you see, and he gets revitalized by being around these people and seeing like what the point of being Spider-Man is.
This is kind of like our first version on the big screen of Miles Morales. How was that? How did they do it? Did they do it justice?
They improved, actually.
They nailed it, yeah. I mean, Shamik Moore's voice acting is fantastic, and you can tell that they animated certain facial expressions that feel very like lifelike, and the way Pixar does a really good job of characterizing just with like very like, you know, little human emotional tics. They nailed that with him, and they brought in the whole culture of the character. He's a son of Puerto Rican and black parents, and that is in every frame of this movie. And when it comes to the music, when it comes to the art design, it's so on a ground level of the character. It doesn't feel like it's just tokenism.
And there's an interview with Phil Lord where they're like, why didn't you subtitle when Spanish is spoken in the movie? It's like, because it's not about you understanding, it's about his culture. It's like, that's who he is. It doesn't matter what he's saying. You can understand that this is what he means to his to his neighborhood and to his family, and you don't need to know that part. It's just showing that he is more than what you're seeing. There's more to him. Also, they created the artist part. That in the comics he does not have that, and I think that's an amazing thing that's in this movie.
Yeah, and it feels like a very Brooklyn movie too, because you know with Spider-Man traditionally is a Queens-based superhero. Am I in this show? But this is a very Brooklyn movie, and it feels the setting is very much a part of this movie in ways that you don't normally see. Even in Spider-Man: Homecoming, it took place in Queens, but I don't really feel like it was.
It could have been copy pasted.
But this, you know, we're not gonna. There are some gripes we can make about it, but we really just want you to go see it and let us know what you liked about it.
One more question, Spider-Gwen. How is she? Because this is, again, the first kind of iteration that we've seen of her on the big screen, brought to life.
There's some criticism that, like, in the comics, she wears like these like turquoise, like teal sneakers, like these Nikes, and they're great, and I always wanted a pair. And in this, they give her ballet shoes, and people are like, oh, you're like, you know, you're making, because she's the girl, you're making her the girl. It's like, no, actually, they give her she is still the same person, and she has all like the badass characteristics, but now she's able to use dance as the reason why she is so limber and quick at like knowing how to be Spider-Man basically immediately, and she knows how to like use her body while everybody else is clumsy. She like already has an idea of handle on how to do that, and I think that's so cool. And there's a moment where all the Spider-Men are trying to like get Miles to be Spider-Man. They're like trying to get him to be better, and she brings up like, can you move through the air like with the grace of a trained dancer? And it's like, actually, you need to be able to do that because Spider-Man's so limber all the time.
Super flexible.
She's the gymnast, basically. She's that gymnast side of him.
And, you know, they are talking about sequels and spin-offs, and there's going to be, like, Gwen Stacy appearing in more movies, either live action or animated. But this is a great movie to introduce who she is to people who might not initially go see a movie about Spider-Gwen or not even know what that is. Now people know, and now people are hopefully excited to see more of her.
I do like seeing the Spider-Gwen suit as well. Apparently, though, this one's been getting 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's already talking about sequels and spin-offs as well. We've got a chat about the Spider-Woman movie that's happening. You're a big fan of that one because there's lots of Spider-Women as well, and that's just like there's lots of Spider-Mans, Spider-Mans,
and pigs too.
Spider-Animals.
I saw Spider-Man's written out one time, and I'm like, that can't be right. That can't be right.
How is it go? So what do you go with 97% on Rotten Tomatoes?
It's too low.
Good.
No. It's good. I mean, there's a reason why critics are loving it, and like, look at the audience score too. It has like an A+ audience score. That's probably an even better indicator of what you're in for. But something just dropped yesterday, right?
Oh, yes. There's a new Men in Black trailer, and it dropped this week, which is exciting. It's starring Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. So a little Thor Ragnarok reunion makes us all happy. We noticed a couple fun things in the trailer, so we thought we'd do a little mini breakdown for you guys. So buckle up, click, click. Then do another one, click, click. It's a butterfly one, like when you go on roller coasters, because this one's going to be a wild ride. The painting on the right, if you notice right here, is Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones fighting Vincent D'Onofrio's Roach guy from Men in Black 1. That's a fan favorite of mine.
Yeah, the World's Fair.
So the funny thing about that is...
And it looks like the one on the right could be of Liam Neeson and Chris Hemsworth, too, which is fun. Look at the gang.
I have been joking about playing Vincent D'Onofrio's
You're very
character
good at it.
It's one of the best
for
characters.
about 3 or 4 years now, and I go on Amazon and I've got all the pieces. I just have to do it because I would commit.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You just need like
Just a chin. Yeah.
Wait, what's the? Because he puts his hand up when he's about to like kill those guys in the diner. He's like, "Funny thing about that."
Anything about that?
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't keep spraying those. Just stop spraying them.
He's the
While
best.
spraying everything.
Yeah.
You should do a breakdown of this movie when it comes out as that character.
Yes. An in-character breakdown. Yeah.
But next we see Emma Thompson in the trailer, which is exciting. But she isn't playing a new character, by the way. You may not have seen it, but she was already introduced in Men in Black 3 as Agent O, which is pretty cool.
Oh.
And her speech
Exactly.
where she says, she gives a speech where she says we are a rumor, is actually quoting Chief Zed, who's played by Rip Torn in Men in Black 1, right after he has Will Smith's Agent J burn off his fingerprints. He tells him, "You are a rumor." One of my favorite scenes. Also, as a kid, I was like, made me scared to grab a cup of coffee after that because I was like, I don't want to burn my fingies
It was a
off.
silver orb, though. The round discs.
It's super cool. And also, these right here look like an update to the noisy cricket model guns, which fan favorite. Yeah,
Yes.
look a little bit of an
Yes,
update
they do.
there.
They're a bit bigger. They're more like a Magnum. How do I know that? I've never held a gun. Oh, Goldeneye. Sorry.
Goldeneye, yeah.
And also, Men in Black has always had a classic, understated, kind of retro, serious motif when it comes to these movies. Their cars used to be simple, older black sedans, like Agent J thought they were boring until he saw what they could do, which was always an exciting moment for me in the theaters. This tradition is maintained with the car you see here, though they also drive a 2018, 2019 Lexus in the trailer.
It's a Lexus ad. They'd punch in on that so hard.
Gotta get that money.
Yep.
Gotta get that cash. And just like in the first movie, there's a classic Hamilton Ventura watch. Ooh, it's beautiful. Classic because it was regarded as one of the first ever electric watches.
Ooh, I didn't know
Cheers
that.
to that one. And then there's this small Thor reference right here. He throws a hammer and the bad guy catches it, just like Hela does in Thor Ragnarok.
Look at the
See,
size
Marvel
of the
fans,
hammers
there's
that are
something
different.
Fans, there's something there for everybody.
Is it bother you guys that they are not wearing ties and that it's like open and that their cuffs are folded
Kind of like
a
the way
little
Harry
bit?
Potter let them kind of
Oh,
rough
yeah,
it up in the later
third,
movies,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
rather than just robes, wizards wear
Being
robes.
sleek and put together.
I'm okay with that. I think this movie, to me, I'm interested to see it. Hopefully, they'll recapture that kind of subversive humor that was in the first movie,
Also,
because that's what makes Men in Black great. Is they're kind of like they're joking the fact like they put Will Smith, who was just coming out of doing freaking Independence Day, and they emasculate him with this little tiny gun, and it's awesome. It's not about the guns in the cars. It's about like this kind of old school, this cool super cop who has to join this like. He's got to
force.
start at the entry level ground floor of this secret organization that's really quirky and weird and fun. And this seems too much like cool, right? Like a little kid watching Men in Black 3 or the animated show just for like the explosions and the effects. And
I miss the quirkiness. I miss the quirkiness in the first one, but I know you're a huge fan of these.
I loved the first Men in Black. What I noticed more, first of all, I'm Team Tessa. I think she's great. I love the fact that it's a male-female duo and the fact that these guys have previous chemistry. I think will really resonate on screen. This actually felt a lot like Kingsman to me. This felt like Kingsman with aliens. How do you
pitch.
not hate that?
Yeah, I mean, Kingsman was a
Seriously.
very Men in Black story too, of like initiating.
Exactly.
This,
And you have it, and it's a whole new world announced to you, and it's like the gadgets, which is very James Bond-esque, but it's like, they're kind of like, I think of Kingsman is more of like a younger James Bond, or like, because you got like the chav guy who's turning into the British, the elite agent. And in this stage, you've got people that are a little bit clueless that are figuring out that aliens do exist and there's a whole organization out there. I'm really all about these concepts. I'm excited. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt for sure.
No, 100%. And also, I like the idea international. Why wouldn't we want to see what aliens were doing in other places around the world? I know New York's fun. That's why every superhero thing takes place in that city. But like, also show what's happening
on,
around
Australia.
the world.
Agreed. Yeah.
Come on, one day we'll get there.
Let me guess, the Opera House is actually an alien.
Well, it
looks weird.
It's a mech suit, so it comes out and
I was
just
thinking
got
it's like the
stuck.
shell of a
bit
giant
of oil.
tortoise or something.
Yeah, maybe.
It's gonna happen. I think the casting is probably the biggest selling point for me, and I think they should do that rather than take a star out of whatever they were great in and put them in a new franchise. Take duos and trios and just put them in. I kind of like keeping chemistry alive because that's really what it's all about.
Well, if Aquaman didn't have it and it wrecked the movie a little bit,
Yep. Okay, well, now for a fun Avengers Endgame theory. In January of this year, Lethal Carrot on Twitter asked Guardians of the Galaxy writer-director James Gunn about that tool that Rocket used in Guardians 2. Remember, it's the one that he used to repair the ship. And then James Gunn replied saying the tool keeps the entire ship in its memory and can recreate it just for the damaged parts, similar to an incredibly sophisticated 3D printer. It's just kind of like, this is what it was, and we're just going to spray it back on, and it's going to go back there.
Damn.
So Naughty Dogs on Reddit wondered, what if Tony finds one of these tools laying around? Like, could he use it to repair the ship, the Benatar that he's on? And I mean, he is on the Benatar, and it's a Guardian ship. It could be the same. We saw the Benatar in Guardians 2, right? That was what it was. Or was it the Milano? The Milano crashed in the first one.
And then the Benatar was the second one that John C. Reilly made for him.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the one that they have in Avengers Infinity War. It's the one that Tony's on. So do you guys think this is possible? Is that a way that Tony could science his way out of this, rescue himself, find this little spray gun, and repair the ship on his own?
Built Vision. What can't this guy build? I don't know if he needs like any kind of thing. He could probably build one of those toys.
What was it that Warmonger said? He built this in a cave. The box scraps. The guy can do whatever he wants.
But the ship's not broken, though. The ship's not...
Right, that's the question. It's a drifting in space.
Yeah, and
is it out of fuel? He said fuel's about to run out.
They're just chilling.
But is navigation broken? That's my kind of question, because like you would think he'd be able to. I mean, we don't know if the Benatar can find its way to Earth.
Yeah,
it's a.
Well, he did have that
Xandar
magic thing that popped up, and they're like, no, don't worry. There's a full list of all planets.
Yeah, big star map.
Right.
Yeah. So why wouldn't he be able to at least set himself toward the vector of Earthbound? And my thinking is some kind of navigation is damaged when the plane landed, or maybe Thanos threw a moon at Titan to fight them. So maybe it got damaged a little bit, and that's why he would need to repair it. It can't just be supplied. Maybe
that is an awfully convenient piece of machinery, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a little too convenient.
That's why it's so expensive.
I think the ship might be fine, but maybe
the ship's fine. What they're lacking is hope.
There you go.
Well, they're lacking
and you're not
hope.
Gonna find hope in that little gun over there. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you what.
On hope.
And you would think Tony and Nebula would have found it by now, right? Like they probably ransacked that ship looking for it. She was. She's
being boring.
She saw it. I would love to see that used again. Though I thought that was such a cool little he's just pressure washing the ship. He's pressure washing the ship back together. I thought that was such a fun wonky Guardians thing. I think it'll depend on the tone of this movie, right? Like it could go in the direction of being more like Guardians, Thor Ragnarok style, or it could be a bit more grounded, like Winter Soldier or Civil War kind of grounded. I think it's since it's the Russos, it's probably going to be a bit more grounded. Would be my guess. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. I think it's a super interesting theory. But some other news came out this week.
Sure did. This week, the live-action Aladdin movie released some first look pics, including a very non-blue genie. On Instagram, though, Will Smith said that he would be CGI and blue for most of the movie. So apparently this is just like at the start.
But isn't it maybe it's a clarification?
Human form, maybe it's a camouflage. Maybe there was huge amounts of backlash, and that's why they are backpedaling real bad, and they probably have to change most of the movie because there was an outcry of disappointment. Who knows? It could just be like, all right, dude, now that, I'm freaking you out because I got no legs and I'm a wisp, and maybe it's just like, okay, does this help? And he looks like that. Who knows?
Do you guys think in 20 years there's going to be like that Mandela effect thing? People are going to think like Will Smith was never a genie in a movie. That was Sinbad, right? It just feels like the same thing.
A little bit. Yeah. People liked some of those, but not all of it. Will Smith's copping it. Hellboy released a trailer, and Avengers Endgame released a new IMAX version of their trailer too. So it's Trailer City. Cleared a few things up though. The Endgame trailer, that is, such as Nebula definitely being with Tony, most likely on the Benatar.
Oh, there was some confusion, right, over whether that's her hand.
100% there. She's there. What do you guys think of the Hellboy trailer though?
That's Hellboy, and it's if you
the only thing that looks different is the mouth.
It'll face a little longer, a bit.
Chin's a little wider.
If you guys really wanted him to be violent, like you got that, like it kind of took. I don't know if it has the same like magic in that in the Guillermo movies.
Yeah, those were great.
I really wish there was a third one.
Yeah.
Adam McKay mentioned in an interview that Marvel may be in the early stages of a Nova movie.
Ooh, that's so a Nova
More
movie that he'd be working on. Is that the
superheroes.
thing, or is he just speculating?
Yeah, is he just
How does he know?
just talking out of his ass?
Yeah, he's friends with everybody. I mean, the one Marvel movie he worked on, he left, and it wasn't under good terms, right?
Let's just say that Adam McKay doesn't know.
No, he came and finished that one.
He finished Ant-Man.
Yeah, he finished it.
Okay.
He stepped in with Paul Rudd, and they're like,
We'll just improvise our way through this one.
I punched so bad and you guys didn't even know.
Rewind it.
Did it twice.
And then rewind back to us.
No.
Oh, the tip of
I'll
that.
just say it again instead. You didn't realize the second time either now, so I'm just going to let it go.
I'm really bad at talking and listening at the same time. I'm really bad.
Twice.
It's a New Year's resolution. I'm working on listening, active listening.
Oh, goodness.
Did you just say something else while I had to share my New Year's
Yeah.
resolution with everyone? The worst.
I didn't
I'm
hear
the
that.
worst. Okay, guys, it's time for our New Rockstars News lightning round. All of you guys tweeted us some questions. I got them here. I'm going to fire them at all of us. We got to answer as quickly and without hesitation as possible. Are we ready?
Yep.
Sam, first one's coming at you. At Tropos or Atropos Dan wants to know, should DCEU reboot?
You know what, gang? It's getting a little bit crowded. Let's not reboot. Let's just take let's call it 5. Let's do a 5, regroup, and then we'll just keep going and we'll keep moving ahead.
Yeah.
There's some
Sounds
good, there's some bad. Let's take the good, make it better.
Yep.
Love it.
Maude at Carissa Main wants to know, which MCU movie is the most Christmassy?
Which MCU, really?
Yeah. I guess there's one that's set at Christmas.
What?
Iron Man.
Oh, that's right, and really
It's
was.
set at
They did that,
Christmas.
and they did this. They blew up the Chinese theater as well in that one,
did,
didn't they?
yeah, it was
Yes,
Christmas
it's
time.
Iron
There's a
Man
Christmas
3 is
tree
the
in it.
answer. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sam
yeah, that's
Bashor.
good.
We'll do that on Jeopardy.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Just
really
why don't you just
anything.
tell me the
Yeah.
answer?
What is?
Okay, for me, Vankman1221 wants to know, what was your go-to breakfast cereal as a kid? Whatever had the most sugar, right? Oh, didn't they have the Rice Krispie treat cereal that
Oh,
was
yeah.
something that was already made out of Rice
Gross.
Krispies,
Well, it's Rice
turned into
Krispies.
another snack, and then turned back into a cereal. And I think I had Rice Krispies, and I would break up chunks and put that over it, too.
I would have
did that.
5
I
Wheat
would do
Bix every morning.
Yeah, it's just
Cinnamon
anything with sugar.
Toast Crunch.
Yeah, it's great.
French
Sugar
Toast
squares.
Crunch.
Sugar squares. Sam at Crimson Vegan wants to know, could Star-Lord have been snapped out of a physical body and then become Eternity and come back and destroy Thanos because of Gamora?
Whoa.
That's
Ouch.
a whopper of a question.
If you want to do all the legwork of literally fixing the universe, but this too, I was gonna say hard pass on that one, gang.
It's anything could happen.
Fun theory though,
Yeah.
but a hard
he
pass.
does love
If
it,
that ends
though.
up being
What links
it.
would he go
Woo,
to?
maybe. I mean, maybe it's like, because there's that moment in Guardians 2 where he looked up, he's like, I see eternity. And maybe that's where you're going.
But then
There's a connection.
it all slipped out of
And
him
he had
when
to
Kurt
kill his-
Russell's Santa Claus died.
Yeah, when he had to kill his daddy.
Remember Christmas Chronicles? Yeah,
It's the same movie.
It's the same
cinematic
movie.
universe. Okay, for me, Sensei I Am One wants to know naughtiest thing you did this
Oh
year.
my god.
Well, in front of a
Tax
live
fraud.
audience, I wore something that exposed too much of myself, and we'll just say that. That's probably the naughtiest thing that I'm willing to share. Next question. Oh, Maud's got it.
I
You
do.
got one, yeah.
From at Anti-Human Jazz, if you could be the Spider-Gwen or Lady Deadpool for the rest of your life, who would you choose? I mean, I want to watch Spider-Verse because of Spider-Gwen now, so Spider-Gwen, but Lady Deadpool gets to say some bad words.
Yeah, but then you have the face, the Deadpool face.
No, thank you, Spider-Gwen.
There you go.
I am vain.
This last question
Same.
is my favorite type of question.
Yes, all of
And
us.
It's
We're
for
all in.
all of us.
All right, first person to answer
Can
wins.
we get an MCU X-Men fan cast? So we'll be here for the next 20 minutes. Fan cast. Okay, here we go.
Wolverine, Tom
Let's each
Hardy,
take different ones.
Cyclops,
Yeah, okay.
James Marsden, he's coming back. You got Jean
Love it.
Grey, who you got Jessica Chastain.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's cast already.
We got
Seems,
Beast, it's Kelsey Grammer, he's still kicking around. We're
Yeah,
gonna do him.
Nightcrawler.
I mean, yeah.
Nightcrawler, you're gonna do Alan Cumming because he hasn't done
He
anything.
was great.
He was
Nothing
great.
wrong. Nothing wrong with him.
We could probably go better.
No, I mean they already nailed it. So.
Okay.
I
all
want
right.
Miles Teller to play every character in it.
What are you doing? That's not
Why?
fun for anyone.
Breaking things.
would
No,
you
of course
want?
not.
I'm Kitty Pryde now.
I'm Kitty
Yeah.
Pryde.
I'm.
I'm
Wait a second.
Kitty Pryde.
I'm Kitty. I want to be a kitty.
Lightning,
Meow,
lightning,
meow.
lightning.
I think we're done.
No,
think we
wait,
got
wait,
it.
Professor X, Professor X.
Phoenix. There's nothing wrong with McAvoy. McAvoy. Oh yeah. I think it's just a question of who do you want to recast?
Who's Heisenberg? Who's that man? Who is that man? Who plays Heisenberg?
Say my
Bryan
god.
Cranston
Say
is
my goddamn
Magneto?
name.
Bryan Cranston for Professor X.
Sure.
Oh, Professor X.
Doing like a Dick Van Dyke Cockney accent the whole time because he's supposed to be British.
Shut up.
Yeah, yes, the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I can't.
Thank you so much for your
Thanks
lightning
for your
round
questions. We're gonna move on.
questions.
Great questions. And now comes the time for a 15-second shout out, where each of us gets 15 seconds to shout out, plug, or ramble about anything.
I had one before. I forgot.
I got one.
Yeah.
This is my Christmas time share that I love to. I want everyone in the world to see this. And every year I check back, and there's only like 150,000 views on this video, and it's the best Christmas video. It'll put you in the Christmas spirit. In the 90s, there was a National Mall Christmas concert where Patti LaBelle was
yes.
brought on stage
Yes.
to sing This Christmas with the Marine Corps band. Well, she didn't know the words to her own song, so she had to have some staffer hold up cue cards, and the band starts right away. Everything about this is botched. There was no rehearsal. She gets announced, and she comes out too early. From the very beginning, she's supposed to have background singers. The background singers are nowhere in sight. There are bleachers, empty bleachers behind her. She's wearing a choir robe for no reason, and it's she's singing the words, but she doesn't know the words, so she'll go, "This Christmas I'm gonna ad-lib all I can, because I don't know the words to my own song." And she's great. She makes the best of it.
The one guy's job to change the cards doesn't
Know, he can't see it. And she's like, "Give me the last card, girl. Give me the last card." She has to give a shout out to the trombonist at some point. She's like, "Give him a round of applause, Sergeant First Class." And you just see her crumble. It's a Christmas miracle, and I want you all to watch and enjoy it. I'll tweet it out.
Oh, do you have yours?
I'm really going to plug myself because I've got nothing else to think about. My Patreon's going to go over some really big changes in 2019. So this is probably the best time ever to join a part of Geek Bomb's Patreon, including, I don't know, check it out. There'll be a bunch of stuff happening, some cool things. I'm doing a bunch of photo shoots as well, which I'm really excited by. By the way, this is what, anyway. And Geek Bomb still has... This is my favorite thing to say about Geek Bomb. So I got 100,000. I got my silver button.
Yay.
And then I think I maxed out at like 108,000 subscribers. And it just dropped.
They got him.
And now I can't get back over 100,000.
Oh, didn't YouTube just do a purge to get a bunch of like
I didn't get hit by that so bad. It was about 3 or 4 months. So it's actually been quite consecutive over the last 8 months, where just like they do a mass unfollowing of a lot of my subscribers. Like even people who write and contribute for Geek Bomb, who've been subscribed for like 6 years, have been unsubscribed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's fun. Yay.
Baller move, YouTube. Thanks for that one. For me, I'm going to just give a shout out to the best Instagram out there. Let me get the name right.
It's Maude Garrett with 2 R's, 2
There
T's.
you go.
That's a good one.
Jerry of the day. I've been watching it all night. It's been giving me a lot of joy. It's ski fails, and I've been finding out about this weird subculture of broy ski dudes, and it's so weird. I'm learning Canadian slang, and it's been such a wonderful
what?
thing.
Go on. Like what?
Jerry is just a bonehead, man. A straight up gourd. He's
dude.
straight up like he's trying to do a trick and he can't do it, but he's gonna whiff it, and then you just gotta send it. I bought a bunch of merch from it after I looked at this because they have a face pack with a cup holder on it, and I'm gonna wear it in, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jerry of the day.
Jerry of the day. Check out all these things, and let's move on to our trivia answer to the question we asked earlier, and bring back our GIF of shame box.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Travis. We're so excited to bring this into our world.
Yeah.
So as always, the loser will have to draw a question from the GIF of shame, stand in front of the green screen, do a bunch of weird motions, and we want you guys to turn that into something crazy and fun on Twitter. But to remind us of what the question was, it was name another project that Jason Momoa had to be an excellent swimmer in. So let's see what
This
each
is where
of
he
us said.
started, guys. This
Did
was
it?
the start of his career.
Oh, yeah, then I didn't get it.
The
Okay.
90s were really good to him.
Really?
You guys got to follow more entertainment sites where they do before and after pictures from his time on this show.
I get sucked into those ads at the bottom of IGN where they're like, "You wouldn't believe who was in this."
You never would have believed.
Eric said, "Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice."
Yeah, I mean, he had to swim in it.
Sam said Frontier.
The Netflix hit.
And Maude said Baywatch.
Was
Interesting.
he in Baywatch?
Which
is
is
Baywatch?
the correct answer.
Wait, like Baywatch?
So
Baywatch?
like David Hasselhoff Baywatch? Wow.
In the later series, he came in, I think, a little bit later, maybe?
How old is he?
Oh wow. Well,
I think he was like 17 or 19 when he joined Baywatch.
way to go, Maude.
Who's the
Nailed it.
furthest here?
Yeah.
I mean,
between-
I think it's a cop out to say Batman v Superman when we're talking about Aquaman.
What's Frontier?
It's a honestly, it's
even in
a
it?
frontier show. He's a star of it.
Oh,
There's 2 seasons
oh
of it.
yeah,
on
where he's
Netflix.
like a
Yeah.
Viking-ish kind of.
near a lake.
Yeah.
Near a lake. I've never watched this show. I don't think anyone is.
he swims in BVS. He does that weird.
I
The
mean,
North-
is it swimming if he's living down there? Oh, that was real stupid. That was really dumb of me to say.
Oh, good.
that's
Nothing like
cute.
teamwork to
Not a full
inaugurate our
lose,
new
gang.
box.
Didn't take the full L.
Okay, so Maud's gonna do our goodbyes while Sam and I
sure
join the
am.
Gift of Shame Club. Did you write this one, Sam?
One of them says boys only.
No, I did not do that.
Okay.
Is that
Hey.
mine?
Wait, is there a boys only one?
Oh yeah, good luck with that.
What is this?
Yeah, there
one?
is a boys
Okay.
only one.
So yeah, see if we can find.
Find
I
the
didn't even
boys
write this.
only. Boys only.
These are both
Hey
fine.
girls, get out of here. This one's for the boys.
No.
This is
cool,
my
it's so wild.
contributions. Only 2 I wrote.
Jesus
Good luck,
Christ.
guys.
All right. What's that? A pole appears. Single dollars rain down on you, you minx. Boys only.
Boys only. Okay, so Maud's gonna read her goodbyes, and
Are you doing yours?
we'll move
Read
all this
yours
stuff
out.
of the way. Oh, we're both doing different ones.
Oh, we both do that one. No, both do that one.
Come on, it's for the boys.
Both do that one.
for the
Oh,
boys.
girls' dreams do come true. This is going to be so
So
good.
what's that? There's a poll that we're on.
Oh, what's that? There's
Wait,
a
wait, so we're hanging
poll.
out. Oh,
Same poll. Whoa. Same poll.
Same poll. Oh,
raining. Oh, grab a couple dollars.
there it is.
Oh, that smells good. Oh, I guess we're gonna have to
This makes
dance
stinks.
on the.
Stinky meat.
Oh, Sam Bashor. I didn't even know you had that move
I
in
can't
you.
scream my leg out because
Christmas.
of all the.
Wow, guys. Sam, how are your nipple tassels going? Nipple tassels, Sam.
Nipple tassels.
There it is. Yes, yes.
Money.
Thank you guys so much for watching New Rockstars and joining me
All right.
in this endeavor. This is so good. Make sure you. Ooh, oh my
I
God.
feel like I'm gonna split in half.
You've got moves I've never seen.
Yeah, that's good. We nailed it.
Alrighty, like the video, share it around. Make, well, they're only dollar bills, buddy. Make sure you turn that GIF into something pretty sweet and share it all over the internet forever and destroy their careers. Subscribe to New Rockstars as well for the deep dives on stuff you love. This is at Sam Bashor, aka Diamond Tits, and then
Oh, welcome out to the stage, everybody. Diamond tits.
and Eric, you can catch him at EA Voss, and he is also known as Candy Flosser.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right. Take my word for it.
I'm Maude Garrett. You couldn't catch me dead on the pole. So catch you next time. But guys, bye. Actually, that's not entirely true. Christmas parties. Christmas parties or something like that could happen. You never know.